basically for the mapping software and some sort of analysis which are also very popular. Then you have microstations, many projects are running on this particular software, microstations. Then you have TNT MIPS, this is a very integrative platform which can go for the image analysis as well as the GIS analysis and bring it together. All sorts of geospatial problems can be solved. And another advantage of this, that here for each software there is a programming interface added to it. You can develop a customized program, and this customized program can be used, and you can use within that software. For they will provide you some kind of platform through which you can add some new modules to the system and you can use it. Then you have GeoMedia, which is also very popular one. Then Idrisi Selva, which is developed by Clark Lab, and this is this particular software which is from the academic point of view, this is very developed by the Clark University. So for research purpose this software is very popular. But if you talk about the industry, the corporate sector, the enterprise solutions, so in that case the ArcGIS which has taken and microstations, these two softwares are very widely used. Whole of our armies, the Indian Army is dependent on microstations. They are using extensively this particular software. What are the differences in these softwares? It is the basic concepts are same. Only things the difference is that how easily you can apply those. So here it is very important to design a proper graphic user interface so that you can interact with the systems very easily. So graphic user interface, those are very, they can develop a very softwares which are very easy to handle, they got the popularity. So on that basis that is developed. Now open source. So now everyone is talking about the open source platforms. There are several open source GIS softwares which are available, and these are also at par. Of course may not be used commercially, but for learning and for implementing some kind of techniques, this particular software is very useful. Quantum GIS, PostGIS, Ilvis, Saha, these are the softwares. GRASS, so these are softwares are available in the market which you can download freely from the website which has been provided at the within bracket. So you can download those softwares and you can start using, and you can also find out lot of documents which will provide you the first guide. Step by step, every step the guides will be provided, that which button to be click first and then what functions and all those things in detail, all the documentations are provided for this. So that would be very helpful for learning, to start into, to jump into this particular field. These softwares are very useful. But yes, of course if you want to go for the industry, if you are trained in this particular software, and if you want to get a ready-made job for the industry, maybe it will be difficult. So they want a training so that they have a professional kind of softwares which are developed. But if you know the basics, if you are a computer people, then it's not very difficult to understand a new software, learn a new software. Only thing you have to have the concept clear and at least one software known properly, then you can do anything. So when you talk about GIS and how it is operating, so that is very important to understand, and then you can go into the development on all these things. In GIS, what we do, we start analyzing, taking a complex real world scenario into simplified view. Okay, we take the real world problem into simplified view. Okay, just for example, we are in this seminar hall. Okay, so suppose I want to prepare a map of this particular area. So what I will do, so when we talk about map, that means I am looking from the top. Fine. So I will not try to draw the heads like a circle, somewhere it is elliptical, so we will not go by drawing like this, but I can draw small points, and all those chairs that may be represented by small rectangles or small squares location and one point at this point thing, and then I can look from there, I can find out so how many chairs are vacant. Okay, so there is no dot. So what I am doing, from this complex kind of distribution, I am going to make some kind of simplified way of presenting that this is the GIS, this is the composition of this particular classroom. Maybe you can find out of those dots which I have drawn, then I can add some data, who is in the MCA first year, who is in the MCA second year, and who is the faculty members, like that. And from there I can put some kind of color, and from there I can analyze, okay, what is the composition, where are the first year students are concentrated, where the faculties are concentrated, and where the second year and third year students are concentrated. Or if I found that the third year student sitting within the first year student, is there anything cooking up? Okay, so we can think about, so what we are doing, we have a complex kind of thing, from there we are making some kind of simplistic way and going for analysis. So here in the real world scenario also, very complex kind of thing, if I go for designing a road, I will not obviously draw if there is some kind of dirt within that road. I just draw a road with the help of simple straight line. Okay, so from the complex, maybe some roads are wider, some roads are thinner, etc. But when I simplify, I just draw with a simple line. So from the complex real world thing, we are trying to go for some kind of graphic sketch. Okay, when the fashion designers do, they will quickly do some kind of sketch. Okay, so here also we prepare some amount of sketch, but the difference is that here what we do, we take the real world scenario, and from there that type of thing we and think about a particular problem, and then from the informations what we can extract, that we split into different layers. Okay, so when you go by layer, one by one we can deal with those layers, it becomes much easier rather taking into a complex problem. Okay, so all if you think total, there is a very thing, but if you make it in a small steps, one by one layer wise, then individually the solution of that may be much easier. So that we can do from a real world. Maybe one layer we can create, or that what type of water resource is present, another layer what type of topography is present, the elevation, the variations, okay, undulations within that, or whether it is a flat area, all those information you can extract. What type of infrastructure present, maybe we can extract. What type of soil cover is there, what type of land use is there, all those information we take it separately, and finally we try to find out their interrelationship. Okay, then we try to find out their interrelationship, and slowly we are converged to something, and from there we solve a particular problem. So when you take a complex thing and making it different layers, we have to take a simplified view. Usually when you talk about this simplification, anything you talk about, any complex thing, any situation you bring, finally a GIS analyst will take it into three basic steps, that is point, line, and a polygon or area. Whatever, if you talk about a forest area, so they will just put a boundary and draw that within that area all the trees are there of different kind, so these are forest. Buildings, they will just put a dot. So what we are doing, whatever may be the complex situation, we talk into different type of things, and that three basic features, which is point, line, and area, and with that we try to represent. And out of those, again we can use two different type of models in the GIS, that's called the data model. This is also very simplified view, and you can just think about what we do when we are on a geographic space. We have several points. Okay, how do you place? We can on line, we can draw a small map in the Cartesian coordinate for each and every location. So in the x direction there is some intercept, and y direction, so that intercept, so you can, so that much is the location. So x and y coordinates, in the geometry you must have done this. Any points you on the graph you want to plot with the help of x and y coordinates. So here also we take the lines in the or areas into this. So when you have this kind of complex shape, if I want, I ask for, okay, calculate the area, you can readily do it by integration. You actually compute the area, how much, okay, or if you want to find out the length of the line, particular feature, then you can just go for the Euclidean distance. These are the common terms which must be very familiar to you. So this type of applications are inbuilt within the system through which we can calculate. Now this is in the 2 dimension. You can think about 3 dimension also. We can calculate the volume. Okay, suppose a coal block has been sold out, whether legally or illegally, without whatever maybe, a coal block has been sold out. From there, how much coal can be extracted? What would be the total volume of coal, so that I can estimate that what would be the money, and based on that I can bribe to buy that particular coal block. So there also we can bring out some kind of So there are many applications. So this type of model where we talk about x and y coordinates, and through which we can represent this complex thing, that we call a vector model. Much simpler form is also available. Here whole area is divided into grids. We talk about grids. This is just like simple matrix form. Okay, individual within each point we can have some amount of value. So suppose I have building present, so we can put in a one cell, we can mark that okay, here we have building. We take a line, okay, we can take a line like this, area. So from here also, if I can count the area very quickly, how many pixels, how many dots are there, how many boxes are there, what is the dimension of one box, multiplied by that we can get the area. So these are the very simple. So that means if you go to the field and try to find out what is the area of that particular feature, what you have to do? You have to take the measuring tape. Another one, a whole team will move. Okay, they will just keep on putting that the triangulation, all those things, and so from there the complex kind of data analysis. Maybe the job through the satellite data and GIS software, what I can do within 5 minutes, maybe they will use for the same purpose for the 5 months. So it's a cost effective technique. Very quick results can be available from this. So what we do in the GIS, we go for the acquisition of the data. Obviously the data is very important. We can have a spatial data, that means a location associated data, and attribute data. Within that location, what type of informations are available, all those data sets has to be acquired first. That is the first step. So it can be through scanning, through digitizing, through importing different type of data available. Just import command, we put different format, maybe Excel sheet, that we can import and put it into the system. Next is the pre-processing. That data has to be converted into some form where GIS can analyze that. So here we can go for different type of analysis. So some pre-processing is required, so that case within our analysis. Then we can go for the data management. In the data management, we keep the data and store in a proper manner, retrieve and update. So here also your knowledge will be very much useful, that how to manage the data, whether it is a relational database, whether it is a hierarchical database, all those kind of knowledge will be useful. What should be, if you have a large volume of data, what type of data volume, or finding out the relationship or network database, what type of database properly used, that can be decided. And finally, here we have some amount of analysis functions. There are different type of geographic analysis functions, and those analysis functions, some modeling, some queries and etc. will run, and finally we will come up with a map. So product generations. Okay, so these are the general procedures through which we can go by this. There are many many analysis functions. Query, you ask a question, GIS can give you the answer. Okay, so that type of questions, when you have the whole database managed, where it is properly in the map, you can ask questions. Okay, where I can found a McDonald's in the vicinity, it will search, do the analysis at the back end, and finally it will show you with the pinpoint. Maybe in your mobile those applications are there. Okay, just those are the things are done by measurement. How much distance I have to travel to find out a McDonald's outlet? Okay, so that distance measurement can be done. Proximity, from, suppose I am going to buy a property. Okay, I have a problem with the sound pollution. Okay, so what should be the optimum location of my building, so that I get minimum amount of disturbance from the road? So all those kind of things can be done with the help of proximity. Classification, how do we categorize different type of areas? Suppose you must have knowing that there is census going on, 2011 census, it has produced the data, and from there lot of things are going on. From their analysis we can, the different developmental process will be done on that. Okay, which are the areas have population more than certain thing, which are the population within this range, all those things can be done through the help of classification and cartographically presented on the map. Terrain analysis for the applications, what should be the, where a soldiers where the should be placed so that the opponent cannot see. So all those kind of terrain analysis functions are there. Neighborhood, relationship with the neighborhood, that interrelationship between different features, different objects within the map can be done. Network, flow, traffic signal, travel time calculations, location of different outlets, all those things can be done with the help of network. And in GIS, very powerful tool which is used, that is the overlay. As we talked about in GIS, we talk about different type of thematic layers. We take different, when you have a complex problem, we try to make it split into different parameters. All those parameters, for each parameter we can prepare a thematic layer. All those thematic layer can be seen together. So suppose we have some problem. So crime is a problem. Okay, this area is prone to robbery. What is the reason behind it? Maybe I can put it into separate layer. That okay, find out, I take a layer on which I can locate where are the police pickets, police posts are there. Then I can prepare an accessibility map to the, so how much time is required to the area where the crime is concentrated, police to reach to that area, what is the time? Okay, what is the economic condition of that area, different people living in that area. So all those things can be put together and then we can find out a solution, what is the reason why this is going on. So that type of things, the overlay analysis is very important in that. So many layers, informations which are put it into different thematic layers, put together, analyze and give a solution. So overlay analysis, and here in the overlay analysis, here you have the possibility that you can incorporate different type of modeling into this. When you integrate all those layers, here the modeling play a very important role in the overlay. Okay, career opportunities. Okay, so these are the broad things. Then now you can find out that where what type of job opportunities are there which are associated with some sort of GIS applications. IT sector, the GIS programmers are developed. So this is one area where you can think about that, going for a good program. If you are a good programmer, then you can think about that how to program the GIS problems. And so GIS problem, so here you have a very good area. So environmental problems, so environmental planning, management, and then environmental impact assessment, that is also very important field. So any project, so all those river valley projects, all the dam projects, all those kind of things which are going on, or maybe some new townships are coming up. Okay, what should be the impact? Okay, some new thermal plant has to be established. What should be the impact on the local area? So all those analysis has to. So before clearance of any project, environmental impact assessment is essential. So environmental impact assessment, the GIS modeling techniques can be used very essentially. So it has the opportunity that you can analyze and then you can think that what would be the situation if I implement that project. So environmental impact assessment, here you have lot of applications. In the government, coordinators, scientists, research associates, GIS executives, in the geology there are many, obviously this is not your field. Disaster management, assessment and relief measures, here a lot of things are going on. Agriculture, crop inventory, detecting crop stress, prediction of crop, what should be the yield this particular year, depending on the monsoon distribution, etc. Kind of models can be prepared and from there it can be, so GIS can be used. Military applications, schedule, fight wars and coping with the war effect, after effects. So all those kind of things, there are opportunities. The military people, they have their own wing for the GIS developers. So they have, because the military, they have a different system. So they groom their own set of scientists within their system. So they have different type of GIS wings available. They have some programmers, GIS analysts, GIS developers. So all those things are there for the military. So in the urban, town planning, monitoring surface water, targeting groundwater, all those kind of things are there. For educational institute, for GIS, we have different type of, just like me, I am a lecturer in the Delhi University, different type of scientific officers, etc. are there. Then organizations like ISRO and NASA, there are scientist rank and engineering rank people who are actually, so these are the different areas out of which your highlight should be as a programmer. Okay, so GIS programmers and developers, here you can think about your as a career opportunities. Now here we can think about that when we are talking about the GIS, here we are basically three stakeholders, and one is the users and decision makers who don't know GIS, number one, who don't know programming. Okay, so the first group, they don't know programming, they don't know how to analyze. Okay, they are just user, they are waiting for a certain maps, and then finally they will implement that those recommendations given by the GIS analyst. GIS analyst, they understand their requirement, they can analyze, okay, and they can provide some kind of solutions, but with the help of the tools which are already within the software, nothing else. They cannot go beyond what is provided within the software. So just like, you know, if I want to cook something, I have certain utensils available. Maybe if I use a different type of utensils, maybe that job I can do it better. But GIS analysts don't know. Okay, because they have not learned programming. They have just learned how to click some buttons and analyze. Maybe they know the algorithm behind it, they can develop those algorithms. And finally, GIS developers, they know programming, if they know some concepts of GIS, then they are fit, okay, but they don't know much about the analysis. So in this particular situation, okay, so this is a kind of, you can think about, so users, decision makers, GIS analysts and GIS developers. There should be some kind of assemblage. If you want to implement certain projects efficiently, develop a particular tool for efficiently, these three has to be work together. Until and unless user is also interacting with the developer and analyst to find out that what is their requirement, then also there is lot of confusion. They should work together and to find out the solutions. Okay, so here the situation is that now we want to provide some kind of solution to the users and decision makers. So what we have to develop, we have to bring out the GIS. Okay, we can collect the data, analyze and take some maps. Okay, we got that map, and finally if I provide it to users, and then they might have some questions. Okay, if I change this, what will be the thing happen? So users will not be able to handle all those kind of things because I have provided only one solution that is not acceptable to them. Is it possible that we can also interact with them? So we can provide some kind of tool, customized tool, okay, or so that they have the opportunity, they can also click some buttons without knowing the GIS functions, without knowing the programming. We have to bring out then some kind of applications. Okay, say a district magistrate who are responsible for disaster management. Any kind of disaster happens, then what should be the relief measures? The district magistrate has to monitor all those kind of things. Is that his duty? But where he will take all those relief measures to the place and how he will properly manage, don't know. So if I can provide a tool for them, there are some maps of that district will be there, okay, some access routes will be there, and what he will do, he will click some buttons and then try to find out that what should be the proper sequence, some kind of interactive things they require, so that they can also, and they also have to also tell the persons who are taking those relief to that places. So here if you can put some kind of graphic user interface, through that they will also know that this thing has to be done and they can visualize that particular thing, then it will be a better managed and better. So here the GIS analyst and the developer has to work hand in hand. So what you require now? You are good developer, you are a good programmer, okay, you know programming very well, okay, only thing you don't know, that is the GIS. So if you know GIS, then you are within that industry, you can also come up with the solution. Now from the programming, I know that you know programming, but what type of programming is used in this particular field? Let's see. The core products and the algorithms which operate within the software and give some kind of solution, their C++ programming is broadly used. Most of the algorithms which are there are developed in C++, and nowadays the Python programming is also there for doing the thing in a simplified way. Then you have to bring it into graphic user interface. So graphic user interface, that has to, obviously there should be some kind of visual programming. So far Visual Basic was used, but now the Java has taken up majority, then the .NET also taken up the thing. Then you have another concept which I will explain, that web GIS things are also there, and the cloud based API. Okay, so these things are also within the system here, .NET and Java. So that means I understand, I consider that within this particular course of MCA you will be expert in this particular thing. Maybe you will be doing specialization in any of this particular field, so you know that this language. Okay, after that you have to learn little bit of GIS. Okay, now here we have discussed about two things. One is the cloud computing. So now the cloud computing is growing, so where the data is stored in some places and which is linked with different type of device which are being used for data collection, data analysis. Okay, so how these things should be managed? So some kind of the development of interface, development, the data distribution and etc. through networking and etc. all those kind of things, the programmers has a lot of important role to play. Okay. Then web GIS portal, that is also growing like anything. So most of the applications nowadays, many government organizations, many applications, they are going through the web GIS platform. And why this thing has come up? Now the thing is that the GIS softwares are very costly. None of the software, the commercially available softwares are available cost less than 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs. So it is not possible for any person to everybody to buy that software. An organization wise, it is also very difficult to buy all those software, and also they require training and etc. etc. Then the data sets are collected by different organizations. Okay, and suppose I am, and this is the particular field which can work in an interdisciplinary way. Different organizations, they collect in their best expertise, okay, that put in together. Suppose I am a geographer, I want to go for a soil data, maybe I can do to some extent good, but if I go for some hydrological things, maybe I am not trained in that particular field properly, so that is not properly done, then I have to learn the technique, collect the data, it will take a lot of time. So the government organizations are also going into such a way that they are trying to integrate different government organizations together. So whosoever is responsible for whatever job, they will collect their data and they will bring it into common platform. Okay, so in the web GIS, there will be some kind of interface like this. As a user, you will have access to different type of data. Maybe data is stored some organization. Software will be provided in some server, different type of data in different server, and there will be lot of clients who will be accessing all those things. So at the user end or the analyst end, you don't require very high end computer, just a simple computer which have the capability of web browsing, that is more than sufficient. Take the information from different place. Also the computing is also not done in your computer. The computing is done in some supercomputer and a mainframe computer where it can do parallel processing, quick processing, all these things are done over there. Finally, you have coming with a solution that you have the options that there are some selectable options, you can select